Great to see Callum Elder make his debut as Socceroos cap number 614. We're going to turn back the clock a little bit now, and one of the greats of the Socceroos, cap number 186, Ray Baartz. Thanks for joining us, Ray. You were one of the first, well, the first to head over to Vietnam, and some great stories about your time over there with the Socceroos.
Yeah, it certainly was. Thanks very much, Michael. A little bit different now to the boys going there this week to what it was when we went there. We went there in 1967, which of course was in the middle of the Vietnam War. So conditions, to say the least, were quite a little bit different.
Tell us a little bit about how that all came about. Doing some research in the last couple of days, it looked like it was a PR exercise by governments to bring this tournament together right in the middle of a war. Were you concerned about travelling over there in the middle of a fairly hostile environment?
Well, it was a PR exercise. It was called the Friendship Cup, for want of a better tournament, and it was featured the various nations that was supporting the South Vietnam cause. And no, we weren't concerned, when we were going, when we were preparing or anything like that, until we arrived in Saigon and saw, the might of the American Air Force and Army at Saigon Airport and so forth. And then we realised that, we were in the middle of a war zone. The police escort from the airport to our hotel was a bit of an eye-opener. So, once we got there, we certainly realised where we were and what was going on. But at no stage did we feel that we were under threat or in danger at all.
Folklore, if you believe folklore, tells us that some of your training venues weren't too far off from landmines. Is that right? Did you know about it at the time?
No, there was a lot of things we didn't know about, but what we did know when we arrived at the hotel, first of all, the hotel was very primitive. The food was atrocious. You couldn't drink the water, and then and it was monsoon season, so the grounds were very heavy, very hot and humid, as it always is there, of course. But the training ground was a real eye opener when we got down there. It was more of a cow paddock than a training field, and yeah, I think once or twice the balls went out of the pitch, and the boy said, "I'll go and get it," and the local police said, "No, you don't go there. You don't go there. We'll get the ball for you," so to speak. So it wasn't until afterwards we realised why they wouldn't let us go there, because they just didn't know where the mines were. Although wherever we went and whatever we did, we did have armed guards with us the whole time. So we did have plenty of security, I must admit.
Notwithstanding all of that, it was a sensational performance by your side, captain Johnny Warren at the time. You went on to win the tournament.
We did. The preparation, as I said, wasn't the best, with the hotel accommodation, the food and the water and so forth, and the heat and humidity. Then on top of that, once we got to there was armed guards everywhere going around the stadium with bomb detectors and so forth, and and then to go into the stadium and a capacity crowd that was starved of any entertainment or any football games were really so patriotic it wasn't funny, and then to encounter the Vietnamese, which they weren't a bad team. It was the first time majority of us had played against an Asian team, and they were quite skillful and quite fast, and they did make things a little bit difficult for us, I must admit. Although we did win that game, we won every game, and the first time we ever encountered South Korea in the final and beat them. So it was a very satisfying couple of weeks in Saigon.
And before we let you go, this of course was the core of the team that ended up going over to the World Cup, wasn't it, in 1974? You were a big part of that squad in the lead up to qualify for that 1974 World Cup.
Yeah, a lot of good memories there, and unfortunately I didn't get to play in the World Cup because of injury against Uruguay, but that's how it goes. But the foundation, I think, was laid not only for the build up to the 74 World Cup, but the foundation was laid for the Socceroos, and the name hadn't even been coined then in those days. We were simply the Australian team, and it wasn't until a few years later that the term Socceroos was first coined. So it was the start of a lot of happy memories and a lot of good things to come.
Well, we thank you so much for giving us an insight into your time with the Socceroos and that first pioneering team that went to Vietnam. I'm sure you'll be staying up Tuesday night, 10 o'clock, to watch today's team take on Vietnam in Hanoi. Thanks so much for joining us, Ray.
Yeah, pleasure. Looking forward to the game. Thank you.